I, Sea Voyager. Welcome to Eternum, an ancient land of fantastical legends. The Loreseekers, three of the finest storytellers of the New World, await your arrival. They'll spin ye a tale of mystery and adventure, so grab an ale and rest ye-self from your journey across the cursed seas.
All right, everybody. Well, welcome. Thanks so much for hanging out, and thanks for checking out the show. This is Loreseekers, the podcast for New World, and we are your hosts. My name is Jibs. I'm joined by a couple of my very best friends from SoCal, California. A good friend of mine, my podcast cohort for a very long time. At this point, I've kind of lost track of the years. My good friend, Cash.
Hey, friends. Thanks for joining us. Yes, I am from Southern California. It's always good. Jibs always makes a point to tell everybody where I live so that everybody knows where to send the hate mail. But
Somehow you're running out of water and you live next to water.
Dude, I don't know. I don't make all the big decisions. I make tiny little decisions in this world, and some of them have to do with podcasting, but none of them have to do with water supply. So there's that.
Oh, makes sense. Well, anyway, I was going to say welcome, but I'm with you every day. I'd call you twice a day, and we've been shows forever. So anyway, I'll move on. All right, so my good friend from Northern Indiana. Now, this person in particular, right before we wrapped up our last show, we had him on, and Cash and I knew the moment he stepped on the mic, he had to be here with us, and so. The first time we've ever had an addition to the show, our good friend from Northern Indiana, Champ.
Well, technically I'm from North Carolina, but I live in Indiana, so I guess I'll let that fly. But, yep, my name's Champ, and I've been friends with these two dudes for a long time. I am completely humbled and blown away to be part of this show. I'm looking forward to being, adding the ability to make good content for the listeners and the viewers, and for us to just hang out and tell a story of New World. It's going to be a good time, boys.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Dude, you listen to his voice like one time and like my clothes start to fall off when I listen to that voice. So yeah, there's no doubt he needs to be here with us. And by the way, friends, if you need a tank or if you need anybody to dominate the battlefield, Champ is your man.
Oh, you're too kind.
There you go.
We do have fun in that payday, though. I mean, am I kidding? I go out on the front street. I got the double shotguns, and I get it done. Y'all just stay in the bank. We don't even care about being silent. We just go ahead and trip the alarm ourselves, and I just handle the streets.
Well, a musket works a little bit different than a shotgun, so we'll see how we do in a few weeks here.
Yes, sir.
Yep. It's funny you talk about that. I think the last 2.5 weeks, we haven't done much gaming at all. In fact, I'm pretty confident we've been playing Podcast Creator Online lately.
Yeah,
no doubt.
For the last 3 weeks, once we made the decision to switch over, it has been pretty much like nonstop outlines and documents and recording this and recording that and figuring out what we're going to put in certain places and Google Docs. And but that's one thing that I will say for a content creator. That is one thing that I will say. Especially pre-launch of a game, it is a very, very magical time where ideas are flying. We're diving, especially us being Loreseekers, we are diving into the lore. And we're going to talk a little bit about it later, but some of the stuff that we've found in the lore might be a little conspiratorial, but that's what makes it fun. And prepping for something like this, to us, this is a very big deal. So to take that extra time and to really dive into what we're going to do and what we're going to present to you, the listener, has been a really magical experience. And I'm super blessed to be able to do it with these two guys.
Absolutely. We're going to have a good time. This isn't, by the way, all listening, this is like totally not how we normally do our intros. It's always that first episode. You got to be super official, lay everything out so you know exactly what you're getting into. But, I guess we should tell them, real quick where we're from, who we are, where we've been. And I know we have people who have, I don't know if you guys realize this. We have a good friend of ours, Corwolf. He has followed us since, I think, 2015 in our podcast journey. Yeah. That dude is So it's just, to any who may have heard of our previous shows or what have you, maybe not first time ever hearing about it, I'm just going to open it up, man, and we'll just figure this thing out. Where we're from, all that.
Well, I think you should probably start and talk about your podcast experience a bit, and then we'll just kind of add little chunks into where ours is. Because I mean, your podcast experience is pretty much ours. So go.
Yeah. So okay, 2012, SWTOR came out, and that was my very first hurrah. I did a few episodes of it was Outlaws Den SWTOR PvP podcast, and then from there it went to Wildcast for WildStar, Overwatch Initiative for Overwatch. Level Up Morning Show with you.
I know you sound so disappointed.
Yeah,
I know.
Smite Disciples with me.
Smite Disciples. Thank you. I knew I was forgetting one on the list. I did Impact Radio, it was a local show. I did Level Up Morning Show, that one, and then Loreseekers for Elder Scrolls Online.
Yes,
that's where we were.
I kind of love this. I kind of love this because this is going to detail a little bit about where we have come from. And I'll just throw this out there and tell you, friends, Jibs is the brain and the technical prowess of this show. Champ is the enforcer of this show, which pretty much means nobody's going to F with us because Champ will take care of it. And I'm kind of the diplomat, I guess, if you.
Sympathizer.
Yeah, I'm kind of the sympathizer of all of us, but no, it is funny because all of our podcast journeys are very much intertwined. We all did meet and became great friends, and although we all we live in different parts of the United States, we became great friends and have had the opportunity to see each other and hang out at certain times. But our journey really did truly start with Star Wars: The Old Republic, and like for myself, that's the first time I ever even heard of what a podcast was. And I was absolutely devouring every Star Wars: The Old Republic podcast I could get my hands on. And then I wanted more. I was like ravenous. So I started writing into some shows and I'm like, oh, I love this. I love how you guys do this. And I love this aspect of the game. And before I knew it, I had quite a few emails into Old Republic Radio. And I don't know if they just got tired of it or they felt bad for me, but eventually they said, why don't you just come be a guest on our show? And I came on with Ivan in Old Republic Radio for Star Wars: The Old Republic, and I was a guest. And then eventually that turned into a full-time spot, which really gave me my first taste of podcasting and how absolutely addicting it could be. And of course, back then you're a novice and you're trying to learn stuff. So I hooked up with Jibs and he started teaching me things. And then we ended up on several shows together. And he's right. We did the Level Up Morning Show and Wildcast. And I did a show for Guild Wars 2. I did a show for Diablo 3. And then we ended up together in Lore. So we created Loreseekers. And our very first game that we ever did with Loreseekers was an amazing time. Absolutely amazing time. We still have lots of friends there, and the community there is absolutely thriving, but for Elder Scrolls Online. And now we're making the switch over to New World.
Yeah. Yup.
Let me caveat in here real quick, since you keep talking about me being the tank and the enforcer. If you meet me, I'm a nice person. I'm just mean in a video game. I'm just saying.
Just don't F with him. Don't F with him.
You're selling me. Dude, I don't want people to... When we go to the first ever New World event, I don't want people running away from me, guys. I mean, I already feel like that's what's going to happen. So, but no, I do like being the enforcer role. I always play the tank of our group or the guy out front that likes to beat on everything. So I guess that's kind of my thing.
And I think that's one of the really good reasons why New World is so appealing to us. And of course, we are going to get into it once we start talking about the game. But that mesh, that marriage of PvE, which of course we love because we're Loreseekers, and right. That fear of having yourself flagged all the time and being out there and having to travel in groups or maybe not travel in groups. That is what is so damn intriguing about this game.
Oh, gosh, man, that's just one aspect of a list. And all this kind of came out of nowhere on so many levels for us. But, Champ, now you did Smite Disciples.
Yes, sir.
Refresh my memory.
Sarastro
where else have you been?
was on the show with us. Remember
Yes.
that? So I've done that.
Yes, I do remember.
I did Sonny's Diner with our good friend Sonny.
Oh, that's
Yes,
right. For
yes.
Star Citizen.
We did Star Citizen right after because remember
good
we went to
show.
Dragon Con and we brought them to Dragon Con. Remember
That game
Mike?
is vaporware.
White?
It's so bad. I don't like it.
But you remember we brought down one of their main developers to Dragon Con just off of a phone call? How great was that, man? What an event. And that was the first time I got to actually hang out with you, Mike, in person. And we hung out for a week down in Atlanta.
Yep.
And I got to realize how wonderful this man is. And I'll tell you that. He's just a great dude all the way around. And that's the group that we have. We have a very close-knit group of friends that we've been hanging out with for years. And they are all wonderful people. And we're very fortunate to have that.
Yep.
We really are.
Agreed, 100%. And so yeah, we've it's kind of crazy all the routes that we took to get here. And we just came off a show. We just wrapped up our time in Elder Scrolls Online. Had a fun time there. And so if you hear us reference Elder Scrolls Online a lot, one, it's because we got Champ to come over from World of Warcraft to play it with us. And yeah.
Why you got to bring up old stuff?
There we are.
Why you got to bring up old stuff?
No.
Why you got to bring back old hurts?
I got to tell you, he's not the only one leaving World of Warcraft right now. And yeah, we're going to dive into that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, before we go anywhere, we had a lot of help getting this show ready. And again, this is kind of a unique intro for us, not something that'd be the norm here. So we've got some things we're going to go through. Number one, we want to make sure and give a huge shout out to Sweetwater Music, who were pretty instrumental in going above and beyond, helping us get the show ready. I know, Champ, you were working with Brandon over there quite a bit.
Yes, sir. I mean, it was great. What happened was we ordered a new board for me, and the board got pushed back till mid-September. So Cash was in contact with Brandon, and they worked things out, and I literally met him at Sweetwater on the front. Now, listen to this, folks. I felt like I was getting set up. He says, "You will meet Brandon on the front step of Sweetwater. He will have a red box. You'll know what to do." And I'm like, what is going on here? Am I picking up equipment or am I picking up a kilo? What are we doing here? But real talk though, not to get off on a tangent. Brandon was instrumental in us getting the soundboard for me so I could do the show tonight and have this wonderful sound with these two wonderful gentlemen's voices intertwined. It was great. Brandon was awesome, and his Brandon Buckley. He works at the Sweetwater in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and he is amazing. And so if you're in the area or if you need somebody that's going to really take care of you as far as customer service goes, I recommend him above all.
I agree. And it was a conversation that I actually had with Brandon when we were going through this debacle of getting your board and getting set up for the show, is that customer service is like a lost art. And without prompting, without asking, this gentleman just stepped up and offered his own stuff to bridge the gap until we got what we ordered. And that's unprecedented, you guys. So we highly recommend Sweetwater. They ship all over the country. They're absolutely fantastic. And if you're interested in podcasting, Brandon knows a whole lot about it. Get a hold of him on his email, Brandon_Buckley@sweetwater.com. Brandon, if you're listening, thanks, bud. You really, really did make this happen for us.
Yeah, and to go off of that, we also had a lot of help from Solus over at the Eternum cast on Twitter. I believe his show is now out at the time that this show is out. So Solus has been a huge help for us, and just being a huge support behind the scenes with everything going on here, helping us get this off the ground. It really was like, you know how they say, like, whenever you raise kids, it takes a village. Well, this show legit took a village, so we have a lot of support on the back. So thank you, everyone who helps and helped make this what it is right here. So
right, and to tag on to Solus, Solus has been a friend of ours for a while now, and he's just a solid guy. And we're going to be running our show kind of in tandem with his, so we're going to be playing off his show quite a bit. Solus is going to be the lead for our company. That's all I'm going to say about that, because we do have more information coming on that later, but we're really not going to touch too much on it right now, because this is kind of just an intro show to what we are going to bring to you. But anyway, Solus, much love to you, brother.
Yeah.
And we can't wait to hear your show.
Yes. Yeah. It's going to be awesome. And yeah, again, going off that too. Yeah, this totally is our intro show. And so we want to kind of give you a real quick, we're going to dive into New World. Trust me, we have a jam-packed show for you right here on episode 1. Trust me. So just buckle up. It's going to be a good time today. But before we get started, so to kind of give you a preface of what we're about, what Loreseekers is about, we follow the old school rules when it comes to podcasting. Like, I remember a day when Twitch wasn't a thing and people went to podcasts for SWTOR. They were ravenous for all their information because EA wasn't giving anything out except once a week they do a news post. So where were they going? They were going to podcasting. I remember that. And I'm seeing I feel like New World in a lot of ways is kind of come full circle. And you're seeing that again, but also with the addition of streaming and everything it is today. You know, it's just kind of like this really unique place. And so we follow the old school rules of podcasting. Unless it's in the game, we don't talk politics or religion. We keep this as a entertainment thing for you and you alone, as escape for you alone. Our goal with Loreseekers is to bring Eternum to you. That's what we're about. That's what we've always been about. When you can't be in the game, that we bring the game to you. So you're going to see over the course of this show all kinds of, well, maybe some organic things happening. You never know when they're going to happen. Maybe NPCs from the world may pop up here in the show and say hi. You may hear some familiar voices along the way. And, well, it's going to be a good time. We're going to do all kinds of segments. We got news. We got, gameplay discussions, all the things, right? And, of course, Cash, people come for the lore, too. That's the thing.
Yeah, over the years, we have really started diving into game lore. And as we were talking earlier, we are coming from Elder Scrolls Online, which is 25 plus years worth of lore. Absolutely insane amount to dive into. And the joy of coming into a new IP, man, I just want to dive into it right now because there's just so much on my mind about the lore of New World. But the joy of coming into a new IP is that you get to make all those discoveries in game on your own. So what we're going to bring you in our weekly lore lessons is a deep dive, as much as we possibly can, especially early on, of the world of Eternum, why you're headed there, the people who may have come before you, and some of those cryptic little things that you may have missed when you're watching all those tasty little videos and looking at those tasty little screenshots that Amazon Games is putting out. But our lore lessons are going to cover the story of the game. We try to do it without spoilers, with a deeper edge. Sometimes we try and parallel the things, especially in an alternative 17th century, which is the setting for our game. We're going to be able to parallel some real life stuff, which we find incredibly intriguing. So hang out. Usually toward the middle to the end of the show is where we start hitting for.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. And I think that there's no better example for the name Loreseekers than this game. Because you really are seeking it, and it's deep and very mysterious and very good.
I think a large part too, JB, is you look at it, a lot of people complained there wasn't enough storyline in the game during the beta, right? And then Amazon came out and directly said, oh, no, we removed that. The storyline that you're going to receive in the game, they took out. They don't want you to know what the storyline is. So a lot of people were confused on the lore, and some of it wasn't in the game because it's part of the storyline. So some of the keys that you need to fill those blocks in, I think, will be filled in for us once they drop the game.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah. And that's what I can't wait for.
Yep. It's going to be good. Well, hey, before we go any further, and we're going to jump right in the show after this, you can always contact us. You want to be featured on the mailbag segment that we're getting ready to have, you can call us, 765-382-6961. Call, leave your voicemail. Try to keep it around a minute or less, and you may be featured right here on the show. Also, you can email us, loreseekerscast@gmail.com. Well, guys, you ready for the first segment ever?
I've been ready for 3 freaking weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It's been 84 years.
Roll tape!
Roll tape. All right.
Oh, yeah. Eternum's news has arrived.
All right. Well, like we said, you can always email us or call us. Get you right here on the show. First one up. This is from friends of ours. They sent their emails in. This is awesome. So this first one up here is from Tark. He says, I have heard that New World is very, very grindy. I'm not sure if what I heard was about crafting, leveling, gear, or something else entirely. If this is the case, how will that affect your time in game? And do you mind more of a grind, thinking of Virtues and Lotro? And what does that do for your engagement of the lore? With your engagement of the lore. We're all working professionals for the most part, and I know my time is precious to me. Wasting time grinding is not something that appeals to me. Comment on you both, Champ, and my overall feels. I want to take an opportunity to say how much I admire both of you, Jibs and Cash. You're constantly evolving, and you have so much fun doing what you love. Your excitement is contagious. I wish I could hang more often and cherish the time I've had with both of you. It's obvious through my interactions with you and via the podcast that you're both very good people. Please welcome Champ for me. I wish all three of you success in the world with this new venture. Keep up the good work. Tark, it's very kind, dude.
Thanks, buddy. You're
Appreciate
awesome.
it,
Hey,
Tark.
Champ.
Yeah,
Welcome.
thank you. And I'm
Oh,
dudes,
hi.
dudes. I'm so happy to be here. Tark,
I know you are.
you're the first
Smile
person,
on your-
dude, man. You're the first person to say welcome to the show and to give me a shout out and welcome me. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm very thankful. I'm humbled and I'm thankful. And I believe it or not, when they invite, so I got to give this backstory. I thought they were going to ask me to be a community manager for our community. I thought we were going to, I was going to help Solace. We're not going to talk about this with our company. We're in a video chat. We're all on cameras. We're looking at each other. And JB is giving me my bio of our relationship. And he's telling me all the things that we've done together and all the experiences we've had together. And then he says, and we want to invite you to be a member of the Loreseeker cast. And I immediately lost it. I almost lost it right there.
We all lost it.
That
was a moment,
oh,
man.
What a moment. And I wish we'd have recorded that because I would love to go back and see that once 3-4 years down the road when we are in this deep and we're having fun and people are starting to learn about us and we're starting to interact with the community. And this is going to be a good time. But that moment was pretty awesome. I've had a few good moments, and that's one of my top ones. I will say that.
Yeah, friends, if it brings, we are going to get back to Tark's email here, but I think that story did definitely need to be said. Jibs and I have been a duo for the longest time, and we never ever would have considered anybody to come onto the show with us, but we've been friends with Champ for such a long time, and when he came back into our lives, I think it was divine. I truly do. I think that's just what needed to happen. And then the first time we got him on that damn mic, and we were just like, okay, dude, we got to do something here. So it was a very emotional moment, I think, for all of us when that took place. And yeah, so, from the bottom of our hearts, we are so pleased and so blessed to have you on the show with us.
Heck yeah.
Thanks, boss.
Okay.
So,
Tark, let's get to Tark's mail. Sorry, bud.
oh man, just to be clear, so I don't sound like a jerk, I'm really happy you're here.
I got you. I got
for
you. But Tark.
Okay, all right, good, all right. Oh yes, but Tark. All right, so the long and skinny, short, too long didn't read version of this. With all the responsibilities we have outside of gaming, how will first off, he's heard the game is very grindy, and how will that affect our time in game, or do we mind the grind?
I think there's only certain aspects of the game that could be considered grindy.
Yeah.
And I think it's an MMO, right? So MMOs they can be grindy for sure. But one thing that I've been missing for so many years is that old school, you have to earn it feel. Yeah. And for me personally, I'm watching a bunch of YouTube videos and stuff about people saying hey, fastest way to level cap and fastest way to get this. And I'm not even watching those because I have zero interest in speeding to level cap in this game. And
Agreed.
I'm probably going to get raffle stomped by 60s all the freaking time out there because I plan on being flagged for PvP all the time when I play. But I also plan on playing my game the way I want to play it, which is slow, methodical, earning every bit, and looking for every damn lore page that I can find and sitting there in the world and reading it. That is my goal. So does a grind bother me? No. And the reason being is because I'm not planning on playing this game for the short time. I'm planning on covering this game for the long term. And because of that, I welcome the grind.
Yep.
I think a large part of the grind too is your high-end crafting, right? And then your weapon skills, right? Because those are the two things you're grinding out. So I think the concept of grindy, I don't think this game's going to be anywhere near grindy like EverQuest or like World of Warcraft Lich King prior, right? Because that's, to me,
faction
Lich King
grinds?
era.
Ugh.
Lich King era WoW is the greatest era of WoW for me. I think it had the best story, the best lore, and had the best gameplay. It was before the Bard power, but it was super grindy. Remember Sons of Hodir? To get that mount, that mammoth mount,
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that thing it felt like it took years. It didn't, but so I think in order for an MMO to feel like an MMO, there has to be aspects of grindiness, but it has to have a payoff in the end, right? That's something you keep.
Yeah.
Because that's a
Right.
downfall of other games.
Right.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason too that people consider things grindy, and this is obviously not to take anything away from Tark, but this is a digital online age. People want, like I look at my teenage daughter, who of course I love dearly, but she's in that realm of wanting everything instantly. And it's because of the damn phones in our hands. Everything can come to you instantly. And there's much less of a sense of earning something and doing it slowly and taking it chunk by chunk, little by little, and then having that payoff reward in the end. And I think that's a lot of kind of what we're dealing with and why that word grindy is even a thing in MMOs nowadays.
Yeah, it's a different kind of MMO. I remember actually a lunch break today. Cash, I gave you a quick call about an idea, which, by the way, Champ, we got to go over. Just remember sitting here on a piece of paper. I'm like, I need to talk to Champ about this. Anyway, so I was like, in passing, that this game to me feels like the gateway to next generation of what MMOs will look like. This game is bringing back sandbox. It's bringing back these I guess just old school vibes, and from that standpoint alone, the sandbox aspect alone, I personally have been looking for this for years, over a decade at this point. I've always wanted to experience it. I've never experienced a sandbox MMO ever, not once, not for any amount of like any kind of like serious commitment amount of time. Like I've never done it. Like lately, I've been playing around with Albion Online, but that's nothing like, no, like it's top down, totally different. Sandbox, but it's different. And for me, for this is like a dream come true. And so for me, I welcome that grind. I welcome it because that's, to me, that's sandbox. I'll never forget, I know we're going to talk the closed beta later from our time in it, but having a moment that I've only ever had in Red Dead Redemption 2, because that game is just wide open, I never thought that a moment like that would be recreated, and it had to do with, hunting sort of aspect, but having that recreated in this game, and then, it was night. So the sun was coming up and the fog sets in, and then you're sitting at your camp and you're just looking around and you realize this world is huge. Everything in it is completely unknown, and I'm in no rush to get to my end game.
Are you still talking about Red Dead Redemption, or are you talking about the night in New World that you got your ass kicked by a wolf?
Hey, he died, all right?
Eventually.
I skinned him up real good. Real good. And so for me, that's, when I think of a grind with this game, I don't see grind, I see sandbox. And so I don't think it's going to affect my gameplay. If anything, I feel like it's going to enhance it, because every night is a journey. No matter if you're just sitting there crafting, if you're gathering, you're out in the world gathering, you're fishing, whatever you're doing. It's to me, I don't see grind, I see sandbox.
I tell you What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a lot of running.
And I started running.
Yeah, because the mobs in this game are freaking no joke. So it's like rule number 1, friends, for your character is cardio. I hate to tell
Yeah,
you,
it
you're
is.
going to be doing a
Oh,
freaking
man.
crap ton of running. And if it helps you, do a serpentine pattern because you confuse the mobs. But they will chase you a long way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So anyway, Tark, thank you so much for the email, friend. And hope to see you in New World. Next up here, it's 2 out of 3. We got Zatheria, or our close friend Pip. I always joke that she and my wife knows, like, and she fully agrees. Like, Pip is the only woman, aside from my mother, my wife, that if she tells me to do something, she says jump. I don't say what. I say how far.
Oh, yeah.
Like she
Oh, yeah.
she could. I know my role.
Yeah, you shut your mouth and you get it done.
That's right. That's right. So Pip says, as self-proclaimed altaholics, how do you feel about the limited number of character slots currently available and only being able to create one character per server? Champ, I'm going to let you open this one up, man.
I think
Because this is a little different.
Yeah, I think for me, with the altaholic, right? I don't think the game has that really built into it at this point, from what I saw, right? It's something they can add to, but as of right now, due to the fact that you can change your weapons to change what you do, and I don't know if there's like a reset for your attribute points, like whatever you put in dexterity or strength or whatever like that, but if they make that easy to do and not something like, we'll say WoW level, where you've got to pretty much skin a chicken on top of a mountain standing on your head with 2 bishops and a, I don't know, monk watching, right? To get it done.
Only on the 5th Sunday of every month.
Well, they only give you 1 point a day, and it takes 12 points to change your spec so you can do something else, and you can only earn 1 point a day. But anyway, not to get sidetracked, I think in this game, if they give you the ability to change your dexterity, strength, depending on what you want to run with on the fly, if that's something you can do, and that opens up the game for you to play the character the way you want to play the character. Because that's the one thing that I don't like about some games is don't trap us into something and not give us the ability to try something else. Because I might be working with a sword and board and a hammer, and I might get bored. And if I can't reset my points easy, I might stop playing, right? You've got to think about that because people do stop playing.
Right.
I've made this commitment on these points. I don't know how to get them back. This isn't going to work for me. So I think if they give the ability to change your points around, how cool is it going to be to not need an alt, right? Every achievement, everything that you see for the first time is on the same character for your entirety of your gameplay. So if this game lasts 20 years, like WoW did, you could literally play one character the entire time. That would be wonderful. That would be just amazing.
Oh my god!
Right.
I have my eyes closed because I'm in a dream world right now that this is actually going to be a reality for me. I am literally, friends, coming from a game where I had 15 characters, 14 alts. Everything was max level. So try doing dailies, and I'm not disparaging this at all because I put myself through that trauma of doing that, and I had a blast doing it. But imagine doing dailies on 15 characters. That does slurp from your gameplay just a touch. Now, as much fun as I had doing that, now I feel like with one character, I can truly invest in the backstory of my character. And in, I'm such a nerd. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm totally having a nerd moment right now. I am really interested in light role play on my own as I play the game, going through this game, enjoying my character, enjoying from where he came from, building upon his experiences, and not feeling like I have to switch over to another character for different dailies or, feel like I'm ignoring another character for any particular period of time. Because the mechanics are in there for me to be able to play anything I want. It's your character, for all intents and purposes, is a shell created for you to play what you want to play. What you do with that shell is up to you. And like I said, I really enjoy being able to mentally RP my character in small ways as I'm playing myself, and maybe RPing a little bit on the exterior too. I do kind of enjoy that a little bit, but I'm really looking forward to investing into one character. It's going to be fresh.
Yeah, I agree. It's for me, like being able to step foot into one game, or not one game, but one character is awesome.
Right.
100%.
And a large
Because you get to sit back. Yeah. Just to be able to sit back and jump into this character. I look at it like real life. Like, not one person is made up of doing two things their entire life. It's like, hey, I'm going to go do this. So I'll use myself as an example. I'm a musician. I'm a drummer. But I also like graphic design. I also like doing podcasts. It's just like there's, to life there's more than just two, things that you're set in stone in. So why have an alt when you can just, granted you're going to have to invest the time that you need to switch things around or figure things out. But, at the end of the day, I'm totally down with one character per server. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, to touch base on what we were talking about too, if you think about it and I want to grab the grindy part because it just dawned on me when we were talking about one character, no alts. Who dictates the grind? You do. I challenge people to slow yourself down and enjoy the game. You are the one that makes it feel grindy, right? Because you're the one that has to go after that thing. So you dictate the pace, right? So if you're not going at the pace where you're trying for world first, slow down in this game and listen to the sounds. Look at the vast landscapes that you have before you, and they change so drastically. And pay attention to the animals because they will kill you.
Because they will kill you. Oh, that's so true. That's so true. Well, anyway, thank you so much for the mail, Pip and Tark. Again, everyone, you can always email us, loreseekerscast@gmail.com. And you can always call us 765-382-6961. Now, I realized I played the wrong bumper for our mailbag and our news, so we're just going to keep rolling.
What a rookie.
It's my first time. It's my first time.
I didn't sign up for this.
So, first article actually ever on the show here. Quest design. Now, we're coming into the game, or we're coming into the space really completely new. We don't know everything. We don't. And we're kind of at a point, right on the cusp of the game getting ready to launch, just a little over a month away. So it's like, all right, we'll just, we'll obviously go through the latest news, but at this point we can kind of pick and choose, like any old article literally that we wanted. So quest design. And they had an article that they put out earlier in the year. It was actually March 23rd of this year. And updates on quest design. And, we're coming from Elder Scrolls Online that has a lot of questing, a lot of stories. I believe the word was over 25,000 lines of voice dialogue. That was before the latest chapter released. So that's increased. So 25,000 lines of voice dialogue in that game, and that's a ton. A ton. And so quest design is obviously something we're looking at, coming into this game. And, guys, I'm going to be honest. I had a good time with the questing. Champ, I know you and I, we stepped foot in the closed beta. I know we're going to talk about it in a few, but, man, like I enjoyed the questing. I enjoyed the voice work in this game.
Absolutely. And I like the difference in where, like in ESO, how they bring you into that character, right? Like you get that zoom in of their face and everything like that, and they have those distorted looks sometimes and all that. But in New World, I like how they keep it in that as you walk up, that's the perspective that you get the conversation, right? And I feel like because it stays like that, it's more uniform. It's less clippy, right? You don't feel like you're being pulled out of something, because I wouldn't look at someone at that. You should never see somebody from their waist up, right? You should be looking them in the eyes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Up here.
Yeah.
Up here.
Right.
But I liked how the dialogue was given, how it was given, and I love the fact that it's not a small scene to where you don't lose the ambience of the sounds around you. If somebody's chopping a tree within 20 feet of you, and you're talking to the NPC, you still hear that tree chop. That's pretty cool.
Right. Yeah, dude. Oh my gosh. Yeah, absolutely. I want to talk about that here in a few. That's the sound design in this game is just, oh my gosh, it's so good. So here in the article, they talk about, quote, quests are the backbone of New World's narrative experience. Through them, you will explore the world, gain experience, acquire critical items, upgrade your gear, and progress your character. Armed with your feedback, we have been consistently making improvements to our questing system, and will continue to make changes as we head toward launch and beyond. So here's their vision. I have 4 key pillars. 1, give players identity and purpose. 2, immerse players in Eternum. 3, provide consistent activities for players. And 4, highlight special moments and celebrate progression.
I think one of the things that's really sticking out to me is the immersion part. And I think that is so incredibly important to this. And I think it's important for us to remember, too, that this was kind of a go back to the drawing board moment for Amazon Game Studios, because they listened. This is another point, friends. People wanted the content. They knew that they had folks out there that were PvE driven. So they went back to the drawing board on this. And from what we can see so far, and we know that much more is going to be added into the game, they're nailing it with the way that the quests are presented to you. And I think, going back to that immersion thing, I think the immersion is a huge part of the experience that a lot of people are really looking for, because there is absolutely a solo portion to this game to be played. There's a PvP portion of this game to be played. There is a group portion of this game to be played, and you can play them all intertwined. But part of that immersion is going off on your own, doing your crafting, doing your harvesting, and doing that main story quest line, or what they call the MSQ. That is a big part of the immersion in games like this. And it seems like with the environment effects, the way that they've built a lot of these NPCs with personalities, and the way that the settlements look bustling and lived in and real, that adds to the immersion for the player in this game. And intertwined in that is the lore that you are going to get to discover. And that is probably the biggest part that intrigues me about this game.
Yeah, 100%. It's you hit the nail on the head, man, with immersion. Like, the world feels alive. And when I first came into the game, I didn't know what was going on. I really didn't. But once I understood what the premise was, like what was actually happening, then it's just like everything with the immersion, everything with the story, the quest. I loved it. I loved every bit of it. You know, people of the sea basically exploring Twilight Age of the 17th century. It's just, it's so good. It's so good.
Right. Another thing about the immersion too, Mike, that I think is crazy. Another thing about the immersion too, Cash, is the fact that I really like how if you are a gatherer, like you want to be a gatherer, you can be a gatherer and support your group, your faction, right? You can go out, get materials to help to boost your faction's capabilities of protecting the keeps. So with immersion, if it's somebody out there that doesn't want to be combative or PvP, they still contribute. They still are an active, useful part of their faction. And that's super important for immersion, I believe.
I agree.
Oh, absolutely.
I agree totally. And that allows people to play the game that they want to play. You know, and if you look at it too, highlight special moments and celebrate progression. If somebody wants to be a master crafter in this game like that, if that's their shtick, that's what they want to do, it sounds like there's going to be ways for them to be recognized for that to happen. Like if you're a master of the market, we have a friend of ours that wants to play New World because he wants to run that damn market. He should be recognized for being able to do that. Of course, probably going to be recognized by being the freaking richest person on the dang server, but then he can lend us money. But if you have those special moments in game where you accomplish something, when you're recognized for those things in whatever realm of gameplay you want, you know, crafting, harvesting, the best PvP, best at PvP, taking keeps, doing all those crushing settlements and all that stuff. You should be recognized for that. You should be able to go to certain areas and somebody recognizes your achievement. That is a huge part of games because we all like accolades and everything in real life, in games. So the fact that they're making that one of their 4 pillars is, I think, a very, very positive direction to take.
Yeah, for sure. And I've seen a lot of complaint over just various places over the interwebs lately, just studying up on stuff for New World, trying to get caught up with the rest of the world from the last 3 years, however long they've been waiting. And a lot of people would say like, hey, the PvE, the quests, they're not there yet, or there's not enough, or it's a lot of one thing or the other thing. And for me personally, like, again, I thought it was good. Now, granted, we were doing the closed beta, and that's just kind of what we're going to jump right into a discussion on is, like we were in ESO and we were playing, and Solus was hopped in the Discord channel. I was like, hey, anybody want any keys for New World? And I thought, yeah, I'll take one. Champ, you took one.
I did.
And yeah, and then the next day we were playing together.
Wait, let's give the rest of the detail, JB. We didn't tell
right.
Cash. Okay. We did not tell Cash out of respect for Cash, because Cash is a
love.
Yeah, he's a love of good lore and good environment, and we knew that. And out of respect for you, we didn't let you know we were dabbling, and then here you are.
Yeah. So I assume now that we're transferring on to talking about beta, and you know what? I have zero problem going first. So let's talk a little bit about my beta experience, which was non-existent, friends, because I did not take advantage of a beta key. I continued to do my thing. And now, granted, you got to understand, friends, that we were all in a Discord together, doing our thing, playing games, having a great time. So I pop in a Discord. This happened for probably a period of about 4 or 5 days. And I finally figured out that they were playing New World, mostly because I asked, like, what the heck are you guys even playing? And they're like, oh, we're playing the New World beta. And I was like, okay, whatever. So now understand, friends, I was pretty entrenched in another game at the time. Pretty entrenched. And I am a 1 MMO person. Can't like switch back and forth and do all kinds of things, because then you feel the temptation in other spots. And it's very, very difficult for me as a content creator to be able to do that. So I listened for about 4 days to pretty much, it sounded like this. Oh my God, did you hear that? Dude, have you been to this area? And I'm just like slapping my forehead going, oh my God, like what the hell? Finally, on about day 4 of hearing that over and over and over again, I was over it. And one of our friends streamed it on Discord. So I went, you know what? F you guys, fine. I clicked on the button, and it was freaking magic from that point on. So here's my point, friends. I decided to make a giant change to something that I've been doing for years on the regular, and move to a new game based upon what I saw of the beta. Watch my friends play. Watch them take me to certain areas and show me things while I watched. I haven't felt the game for myself yet, but what I saw, I felt is powerful enough, strong enough in potential. The things that we could see in the future and what it is at face value right now. Granted, this is a MMO launch title. Think back to all the successful MMOs that you've ever played, that you've loved for a time and eventually ended up moving on or still playing those games. Fine. Think about those games pre-launch. What I saw of New World blew my freaking mind so much that I knew if this game could be where it is right now in a closed beta, imagine what this game could look like in a year or two. That is what I saw. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are asking a lot of questions about why we're making the move from a game that we've been playing for so long. As a content creator, these are the things that you see. As an MMO gamer, this is the excitement level that games like this will bring you to at a first glance, or just watching and not even being able to play it yet. That is where I'm at. I have no shame. I'm extremely freaking excited for New World. I cannot wait to dive into this game, friends, based off of what I saw on a closed beta. Mic drop.
Yeah. I mean, wow, where do I start unpacking that? Yeah. Everything about it. Like, it just, it's the sandbox, the idea of just stepping into the game, and the audio design, like, dude, I remember, Champ, distinctly, you and I both, we were playing the game and we both realized, like, all right, we need to get off of this. Otherwise, we're not going to get off.
Right. Absolutely. It was when I knew the defining moment, and I'll share. I'm standing in the woods and I hear someone shoot a musket. And I hear the musket round hit the tree behind me. And it sounded like I was in the woods. It was a musket, and the bullet hit the tree behind me. That was phenomenal. And
Isn't that awesome?
the tree chopping, the sounds in this game. I found a spot on the top of a rock far enough away from the civilization where no one was. So I was on a path not tread, right? And I sat down on top of this rock. I turned my sound up as high as I could get it. And mind you, I run a setup to where I can amplify and change the setup, right? Where I can really dial the sound in for what I can hear. And with this headphones,
Right.
the sound was, dude, I felt like I was sitting at a campsite. Or when I was in the military, sitting at a campsite there, right? And just all those birds and the chirps and the frogs and the crickets and all the sound that was in this game. That is the immersion of this. This is the best, 100%, swear on my mama, best sound of any MMO I've ever played in my entire life.
Yes, I agree 110%. I recently told my students, those who don't know, I teach audio and engineering. And so I had my students in my classroom, and we just kind of got to talking about some things, curriculum, whatnot. And I said, audio is king. It's everything. It's everything in your commercial. They can't sell you if you can't hear it. It's everything in your favorite horror flick. You can't feel afraid if you can't feel the tense music. Well, the same thing goes in an MMO. You can't feel it unless you hear it. And it is by far the most immersive sound I think I've ever heard in a game, period. Definitely MMO, and I would venture to say probably game. Like, just the amount of the ambience is insane.
Absolutely.
I don't know who designed this. I don't know what they did, but give them a raise. Give them give them that corner double window office.
I'm pretty sure it was more than one person.
Yeah.
Give them all raises.
Right.
Just raises all around.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, really. I love that you mentioned that, Jibs, about audio, because you taught me that. And that makes me very happy that you say that, because I can't cry at a Hallmark commercial unless I can hear what's going on in the Hallmark commercial, right? So,
right.
But when you can literally, I remember this one point when I was watching the beta footage, watching you guys play, and I remember Sulla saying, "Cash, watch." And I actually wrote about this in an article on our website. I called it Chasing Shinies, and it tells this whole story. But one point that I go back to is Sulla said, "Cash, watch this." And he turned off all the sounds in the game like the music and all that stuff, except for the ambient sounds. And he's like, dude, this is my favorite sound in the game. And he started picking away at a piece of stone. And you can hear the echo off of adjacent walls. You know, you'd say you're in a valley or something, and there's some type of a stone structure next to you. You can literally hear it bouncing off the walls, or a musket firing. Directional. Like, are you freaking kidding me? If they nailed one thing, and they nailed a crap load of things, by the way, but if they nailed one thing in this game, the audio is absolutely mind-blowing.
Yes.
You know what's crazy is I was roaming and I walked past where they were having a battle for one of the settlements. It sounded like a Civil War battle. The muskets going off, and you'd hear like a yell, or I don't know what was yelling. All I know is I felt like I was in The Patriot, and I was Mel Gibson, and I was about to get it done. It literally had that colonial warfare feel, man, and it just, the guns going off and just that deep sound. I absolutely loved it.
Dude, you're revving up
awesome.
my lore wine button right now. So just slow her down, because if you let me go, I will not stop talking.
It's so good. There's actually a shout out to this video needs to be seen and heard by everyone. It's literally the video only one of its kind. So I'm trying to say by someone on YouTube named Alt150, and it's called New World the audio you are missing. I cannot express to you how much you need to watch this person's video, and it explains even further everything we're saying on the audio in the game. That's one of my favorite pastimes in previous games that I played, was turning down the music and cranking up the ambience. And I feel like if there's ever a reason to ever do it, it's this game right here. It's so, and this game is going to be so easy to roleplay. It's going to be so easy to roleplay because it's so easy to immerse yourself.
Right. And that harkens back to the article that we just talked about on questing. One of the pillars, immerse players in Eternum. That is exactly what they're doing. And Jibs, you hit the nail on the head. Audio is everything. And Amazon knows that. They figured that out and they nailed it. That is one of the biggest things that you hear people talk about, is the audio quality in this game and how immersive it is.
Yeah, agreed. Now, Champ, I know that there was a few other things that we really liked about the game. I know audio wasn't the only one. I know you and I had some fun with the mob difficulty in the zones.
Yes. So what this was reminiscent of old school gaming, right? Where you wandered into the wrong spot and you realized that you were the little sheep in the field of wolves, literally. Oh my goodness, man. Yeah. I mean, you just took the wrong, you're walking down the path and you're looking and you're like, wow, that set of trees over there is pretty. I want to go look at that. Wrong. You got 4 steps in the wood line and then wolves let you know now is not the time. You have not earned your right. Do you have a license?
You're going to learn today.
Right? I mean, just taught me a valuable lesson. And I love that. I love the fact that if I trod off the beaten path and I walk to the wrong spot, I'm in trouble. And I love that. And I like dying throughout while I'm playing, because that lets me know the world that I live in is stronger than me. It reminds me, right, that I am just one cog in the machine that is Eternum. It's pretty awesome.
Agreed.
It's a true survival feel. I mean, that is exactly what I would expect. That's exactly what I would expect from being in the wilderness that is untouched. I want the freaking grizzly bear to be 3 times my height, because he earned that right to be 3 times my height, because he eats explorers for a freaking living and he's good at it. and the size of the freaking alligators, and we've had this alligator conversation several times in our Discord, and it makes me laugh every time, because you could be minding your own damn business and you're literally just walking through the reeds trying to stalk something else, and you happen upon an alligator, and that alligator looks like it's from some freaking prehistoric time.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Holy.
Not
oh
going
my
to survive
gosh.
it. I'm sorry. And I love that.
These alligators, it's like something out of like an Alfred Hitchcock movie. It's like they've been eating. I don't know what they've been injecting. If they've been having Eternum roids going on there.
They're eating people, bro. There's a lot of
getting a high source of protein.
There's a lot of fat in people.
Right. You know what's funny too is there was one moment where me and JB were roaming around it, and all I heard was this: footsteps and I'm out of here. And he was gone, dude. Like he was up the hill, and I'm standing there trying to be the good tank. You know, I got a sword and board, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna. And I look back over my shoulder, and there goes Gibbles up the hill. Isn't that something?
Dude, I remember you. So you and I both were running. We spawned different areas, and we were every bit of 1.5, maybe 2 kilometers away. And so we're like, all right, let's run at each other, and we'll meet up, right? We totally ended up in a zone we did not belong in. Like every bit of 15, maybe closer to 18 levels higher than us.
Oh.
And so that we finally meet up. We're like, yeah, doing all his emotes and figuring out that we can go prone, which mind blown in this game. You can go prone and you can legit hide, and it's so much fun. And we're like, all right, where are we going now? Let's go back to the tutorial place. Okay, cool. So we start hoofing it back, and we start. We walk by a cabin, and I took one step in front of that doorway. I remember you going, stop. I'm like, what? What's going on? And I immediately, that's when the indicator popped up on my monitor of a level like 25 NPC. Like, I don't know if it was some kind of boss, but right as I saw that, like it's like it came out of a movie. A player jumps in, and he starts fighting, and I'm like, okay, we can help him. You know, he'll have the aggro. So I start doing my rotation. Granted, I had like maybe 1 or 2 skills. And then all of a sudden I hear Champ scream, and I look over. Champ was fighting to my left, and all of a sudden his body is gone. Just gone. I said, what happened? He goes, he spanked me. I am gone.
I have been deleted, and it was not fun.
I have been. It was just, you were gone. Just gone, completely obliterated. And then, of course, I don't know how we gained aggro, but long story short, we acquired it. And
death.
Oh, it was such a funny moment, man. Just, I love that this game has places you can't go. You know, like, I think it's refreshing that you can't go in every zone anytime you want.
Yeah, you got to earn it.
You got to earn it. And you really have to immerse yourself in this game. You know, you talk mob difficulty. Man, gathering in that closed beta was totally what just like it's amazing. Everything that you see almost you can gather, which truly gives you the vibe of this place is untamed, and you know you can totally go anywhere, do anything kind of vibe, and gather just about everything.
Immersion.
It's pretty cool.
Immersion.
Yeah.
Right. Again, and when you talk about gathering,
absolutely.
Mike, did you realize in game that you could climb cliffs to mine?
Oh yeah,
bro.
Yeah, that was part of the sexy, dude. That slipped me right in. Like, yeah, for sure.
You literally go into a mountain range, scale the mountains, and mine off the side of the mountains. Now think about the aspects of hiding little nuggets of goodness in dungeons where you have to realize you can climb up, and so that little piece of lore is tucked in there about that dungeon. Or that little secret, right?
Yeah.
They have got a really good framework, and it's not a jumping puzzle. Because I hate jumping puzzles. It's a climb up, keep climbing up, and you find, right? So the fact that you have vertical gameplay in a completely open world setting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I know that like I'm not super cool because I wasn't in the closed beta and everything, and you guys think I'm a little bit lesser of a human for that. But look, I've done my research. Okay, I've watched a lot of damn YouTube. Couple things.
Sounds like an elf. Super hoity.
Couple things that makes me incredibly freaking stoked for this game. First one, I want to talk about is touching on what you just said, Champ, and that is hidden lore. There's going to be hidden lore around places. And in several of the games that I've played in the past, when you get to dungeon type content, group content, which in this game is called expeditions, dungeons in other games, albeit fun, had a sense of got to get through it right this freaking second. And if you don't know what you're doing, we're going to browbeat you. We're going to verbally destroy you, and we're probably going to kick you from the group. Just so you know, like that's how they roll. Now, mostly that in World of Warcraft, a lot less so in the next game we played, Elder Scrolls Online, which I think had a really good dungeon community for the most part. But you still ran into the fact that people wanted to haul ass and just get it done. Okay? This game has a token system where you have to earn and create a token to be able to go into the dungeons. So there's much more of a chance of getting together with a group. Say you don't really know the people because there is no dungeon finder. You have much more of a chance of playing the game with your friends and creepy crawling through a dungeon and being able to look for those little bits of lore rather than having to blast through at a breakneck pace, ruining your immersion just to get through and get the gear. That is what I am so looking forward to in this game. That's point one. Mm-hmm. Point two goes back to the harvesting you were talking about. And this is purely visual. Like, I'm a visual dude. Okay? Like, I like to read, but I'm still a visual dude. The fact that everywhere you run in this game, there's something for you to harvest or pick up or notice. And the way the game's UI presents it to you is absolutely beautiful. Reminiscent of what a next-gen MMO should look like. Makes me very happy. I'd have no other point to that other than that. The game is freaking gorgeous. The UI is simplistic yet intuitive. Easy to use. You know what I mean? Very, very pretty UI interface. And the UI interface all intertwines with the theme of the game. That nautical theme. Those mysterious circles and shapes. And that to me is so freaking incredibly sexy. I'm taking this to a place I probably shouldn't go. Anyway, I like those two things a lot. A lot.
You know what's funny when you're talking about the dungeon stuff? I think that's where other games start to spiral, is when you can queue up for something. Old school MMOs were good because of communities and involvement. People treated you like a person in their group, not a random, right? And that's the part of it that I love the most, is the fact that I miss that old school feeling where you dungeoned with people you knew. You raided with people you knew. Like, you don't. And I understand we're in the, like you said, the technology age where everything needs to be right now, right now, right now. I hope New World takes a stand to where they make you build communities, where you have to have a community of people to play. And so you seek those communities out, right? You find people of like-minded. Now, don't join an RP casual guild and expect to do hardcore stuff. And I think that's one of the detriments of it. And just go into the situation knowing what you expect from the game and be honest with yourself, right? I think if you do that in this game will far outshadow any other MMO simply because of the fact of it being based on community. And that's huge for me. And I hope they pull that off.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed 100%. I like that old school, we'll probably say it a lot, but man, those old school vibes are so real here. And I love every second of it. I love the fact there's not a dungeon finder. I love it, every bit of it. It's the old school MMO. And the best part is it's next gen, and man, is it gorgeous.
So based off of the closed beta, your closed beta experience is what you know of the game right now. From each of us, what is one one aspect of the game that put its hooks in you. One aspect. Bruce, go first. Champ.
Ooh, one aspect. I like the fact that the combat is more complex than just pushing the buttons. I like the fact that there's canceling animations. So if you want to play at a higher level, you can. But you have to get good at it, right? So there is a skill cap, because a lot of people I've heard or read say there's not enough attacks. I remember saying that when I left WoW. I mean, I left a warlock with 58 buttons, right? I mean, there's a lot to do. And then you go to a game with less, how do you make it better? Well, it's an adventure combat, right? Like, it's an active combat, right? So I like the fact that you have like the dodge canceling, the weapon swap while you're rolling and stuff. Those elements, I love the fact that they added that into it, so people that want to play at a higher level can, just by practicing. I really like that. Obviously, the sounds and the ambiance, but I already said that for like the last forever, so I figured I'd pick something else.
Oh, well, I'm going to be that guy. Sound?
Right.
It's unbelievable, honestly. I've been a big proponent ever since I can remember, Cash, of you and I podcasting together, and now Champ. I'm big on what a game adds to a genre. You know, we've seen games add choice. We've seen games add customization options through housing. If anything that this game does, what this game adds to MMO, the genre, is a new expectation for sound when it comes to players being able to hear it in a game. So for me, I'll take the cop out because it's totally, every time I log in, it's amazing sound. It sounds awesome.
I love all those things. I love every single aspect of this game that we have talked about so far, your experiences from closed beta. But I'm going to be 1,000% honest with you. Do you remember a time when we were talking about New World, and this was probably a couple months ago, and I said that I don't think I can really get into like the time frame and the lore. I don't think that's my thing. I mean, colonial, like, okay, like, what's that all about? Have you ever seen somebody eat their foot?
I watched you do it.
I think I'm about to.
I watched you do it.
Have you actually seen a human being with their foot in their mouth? Because above and beyond all of the other things, the visuals, the gameplay, the active action combat, the crafting, the gathering, like all the other things that I have seen of this game that are just tickling all the tickle spots on my tickle body. Okay? That was gross, but whatever.
Like Tickle Me Elmo, but not older, balder.
The story in this game, the setting in this game that I had no idea about until I started looking and until I started realizing that this alternate 17th century universe parallels our own world's 17th century.
Oh, yeah.
And then truly diving in to all of the little things that they hid for us to find. That in itself has become my number one driving factor for wanting to absolutely devour New World. I want to watch the lore. I want to watch the story evolve over the next few years. Because I have never had a game ever that has had a storyline that was so close to our own, so close to being true and real, because it evolved. Even if it's fantasy, it evolved from something that we know that people in our world experienced. That is where we are at. And I think, I don't mean, if you guys have more to say, then please by all means do it. But I think this is a perfect segue into our lore lesson.
I agree. Friends, buckle up. Enjoy the very first lore lesson right here on Loreseekers.
Lore Lesson 1. Genesis. Your backpack is stocked with essential provisions as you lay in your bunk. A weathered cloak, a week's worth of rations, a rolled quilt and blanket, a cherished dirk, spare breeches and tunic, a water skin, 2 elixirs, a book of parchment, 2 graphite pencils, and a quill pen with ink. You were instructed to pack light. The creaking sounds of the wavering docks, the ringing of the bells in the harbor, and the gentle lapping of seawater against the hull of the ship fill your ears. You give your best attempt at getting some rest for the journey ahead, but you just can't sleep. Tomorrow, your expedition sets sail for Eternum. The Island of Eternum. A land of fantastical legend, rumored to hold magical properties and perhaps uncovered secrets. Many have tried to reach it, but they'd never returned to tell the tale. This is a secretive mission, sanctioned by the church itself. Your duty, which you've reluctantly agreed to, is to explore, chart, and document the island. You've put your trust in a seasoned seafaring explorer and his crew to accurately chart the course and navigate to a vague set of coordinates. Your journey truly begins when your feet touch the sand on an island only known to legend. Perhaps first, you must survive the journey so many have attempted before you, only to never be heard from again. Sounds dangerous, but who cares, right? What's an adventure without danger? Fellow seekers of lore, as we await the acclaimed arrival of Amazon's New World, let us take you on a journey of discovery as we dive into Eternum's secrets. In our weekly lore lessons, we will bring you the story of the game when you can't be in game yourself. For this first episode, we're going to focus on the setting for our adventures in Eternum. We've broken down some iconic New World screenshots and video and pulled out some gems that you may have missed. So buckle up. We're about to deep dive. Now keep in mind we're relatively new to the lore of New World, looking at the story in its current form. We aim to learn the story with you and don't consider ourselves experts in any right. We are seekers of lore, and when we find it, we seek to bring it to you. Many of you may have already uncovered the things that we discover and discuss in our lore lessons, so if this is old news to you, just be patient as we learn it for ourselves and share it with you, the listener. To start us off, we're going to examine where our characters are headed in the first place. The Island of Eternum awaits our arrival. Eternum, or in Eternum in Latin, has the literal meaning of forever, or eternally. We analyzed the intro video to the game, which you know is the tutorial video, and we found some very interesting points to ponder. Now keep in mind there are some minor spoilers ahead, so if you want to discover all this for yourself, you might want to skip this initial portion. It's nothing too bad though. The video of the tutorial begins on a gritty street in what appears to be a typical early modern European harbor town. Clotheslines stretch from house to house across a stone street. Empty wagons and carts are lazily placed as if waiting for the morning when the vendors will reappear to stock them and sell their wares. A figure walks into the frame with purpose. Adorned in a mixture of heavy and medium armors, what's probably most notable, though, is the helmet worn by the figure. This brings us to our first fun fact. The figure walking down the city street in the video wore a Morion helmet, which we tend to see a great deal in New World. A Morion is a type of open helmet used by soldiers and explorers in the 16th and 17th centuries. It is probably most identifiable with early Spanish explorers and conquistadores, also known as conquerors, although the flat-brimmed helmet with a front-to-back crest was also used by foot soldiers in other parts of Europe at the time. Now, an interesting feature of the helmet worn by the gentleman in the video is its adornment with a metal full-face covering, rendered as a human face with a mustache and beard. This was not typical of helmets worn during that time period of the game, which is the 17th century. But hey, this is a fantasy game and it's freaking awesome, so we're not really doing any complaining. We also noted a medallion necklace hanging around the armored man's neck. The gold medallion depicted a lion which, due to being regarded as the king of beasts, had come to be symbolized during that time in heraldry as courage, nobility, royalty, strength, and valor. So there's no doubt in seeing this that this gentleman is a figure of strength. Now this armor-clad badass walks into a tavern where a hooded figure awaits, seated at a table. An unassuming wooden box is slid across the table by the hooded figure, identified as Father Russo. Interesting. A member of the church. Father Russo begins to speak.
Tell me, have you witnessed their power? I have. We've all heard the legends. Every child has heard the legends of the cursed sea. The stories of ships vanishing without a trace. How many have been lost over the years? Dismissed as fantasy. The nobles, the church. They all knew the truth. Something out there was growing. Something terrible. The threat grows once more as the bourgeoisie slumber. Your ship is stocked and your crew assembled. We can pretend no longer. Left unchecked, the veil will surely fall, and all will be lost to madness and ruin. This corruption must be stopped.
So it seems the captain is going on a bit of an adventure. A magical rune glows upon the box as it's opened, revealing something that widens the captain's eyes and illuminates his face with a bright aqua blue hue. Now, what is interesting here is that a navigational map appears on the screen as Father Russo speaks, telling of the legend of a cursed sea and lost ships, alluding to the fact that many have charted this course in the past, but have never returned. Did they perish? Or did they find something that compelled them to stay on Eternum? It's also quite apparent by the map animations in the video that our adventure as players has us traveling from the western coast of Europe. Now, judging from the way the arrows are coming, it looks like possibly Spain, Portugal, or France. Something out there was growing. Something terrible. The threat grows once more as the bourgeoisie slumber. Now, bourgeoisie. Kind of a simple guy, had to look this one up. Bourgeoisie is a French term. It's a defined social class equivalent to the middle or upper middle class. There's a slight reference to its perceived materialistic values or conventional attitudes, which explains their possible slumber. A lot of people during that time were more interested in material things. Now, these statements perhaps were alluding to the secrets of the island and its corruption, of which the hooded figure mentioned of the nobles and the church had been aware. What could be so important to discover upon this island in which many expeditions had previously failed? Why would they continue to send more explorers to their possible demise? To answer these questions, we dove a bit deeper into some of the cryptic things we found surrounding New World's visuals. First off, it appears the island of Eternum is located in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean between the Americas and 17th century Europa. With the mysterious disappearances of ships, our team examined the possibility of the Bermuda Triangle being a factor in New World's story. However, Eternum does not appear to be located close enough to the historical location of the Bermuda Triangle for it to be a factor. But there is another theory. Another theory we came up with is that Eternum is located directly above one of the proposed locations of the sunken city of Atlantis. Could the long-lost civilization of Atlantis itself be the root of power found upon the Island of Eternum? And here's another fun fact. The story of Atlantis, as told by Plato in around 360 BC, details its half-human, half-god founders who had created a utopian civilization and created a massive naval power around it. The geographical location of Atlantis was comprised of several islands of lush foliage, containing numerous precious metals and dotted with rare and exotic wildlife. Atlantis' naval might launches an attack on Athens, but they are repelled by the power of the gods when they created a series of natural disasters. The story concludes with Atlantis losing favor with the gods and their deities and sinking deep into the Atlantic Ocean, right around the area where they're saying Eternum's located. Just saying, it could be a factor. Another very interesting point we discovered in our research revolves around Eternum's most precious resource, a material known as Azoth. No, not Azeroth, Warcraft fans. Cool your jets. Azoth, however, is an actual material known in ancient history as an essential agent of transformation in alchemy. It was considered to be a universal medication or solvent used to make transmutation possible, a catalyst in an alchemical reaction, if you will. The following excerpt from the wiki for the word Azoth explains further. Believed to be the universal solvent, universal cure, and elixir of life, the Azoth is said to embody all medicines as well as the first principles of all other substances. The Azoth is believed to be the animating energy or spiritus animatus of the body and the inspiration and enthusiasm that moves the mind. The Azoth is believed to be the mysterious evolutionary force responsible for the drive towards physical and spiritual perfection. Thus, the concept of Azoth is analogous to the light of nature or mind of God. Now, this substance, Azoth, plays a massive role in New World. Azoth is the water of life in Eternum. It's a mineral sought out by players that possesses magical properties and serves as a form of currency. It can be used in crafting to increase the power of an item's bonuses, to respec a weapon, and even to fast travel. Perhaps most importantly, Azoth is used in the resurrection of players, pointing to the possibility that players are sent to Eternum in search of this supernatural element. Could it be the water of life? To wrap up this first lore lesson, we at Loreseekers are incredibly excited and optimistic about the possible quality and depth of New World's story. From what we've been able to discover in online resources such as newworldfans.com, which is amazing by the way, New World's lore contains a healthy marriage of real-world stories and folklore, ancient religions, and the modern fantasy worlds we've all come to love in our RPGs. What's more, the stories are being delivered through cryptic texts and symbolism appearing in advertisements, screenshots, wallpapers, and discoveries in the game itself. We can feel an amazing story brewing here, and what is truly piquing our interest is that they want you to seek it out. It's not being delivered to you on a platter. In short, New World, as far as we can surmise, wants you to work to find the secrets of Eternum on your own. You mean I have to explore? You mean I have to put these things together on my own? Well, no, you don't have to. You can choose to spacebar through the story and look it up later on a wiki or listen to one of our lore lessons. But for those of you who are intrigued by the stories of MMOs, those of you who love to live in your games, driven by a sense of role play and finding your place in the world, stick with us. Because what we've found in New World so far could be setting the stage for one hell of a story.
Oh, wow. Good start.
Yeah, buddy. I'm not kidding you. I've been deep diving like crazy. I am so freaking excited and so freaking intrigued with the story that this game is very, very craftily presenting to us, friends.
Yeah, that was good, man. Great job on the first one.
Thanks, buddy. Really enjoyed putting it together, and I'm going to enjoy putting all the rest of them together.
Heck yeah. Champ,
Dude,
my man.
goosebumps, right? Like goosebumps.
First one's in the
wow.
bag.
Wow.
Oh, man. Well, this was fun, dudes. All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you had a good time here. And you can expect a brand new episode every single Monday. If you enjoyed the show, we want to hear from you. You like us, you don't like us, whatever it is. Whatever podcast app you're using, leave us a review. Tell us how we're doing. For every 5-star review that we get on iTunes, though, we'll show you a shout out by reading your review right here on the show. We actually already have a 5-star review.
How did that happen? We don't even have our first episode out yet.
I don't know. He liked the teaser. It's good old Sonny Ravencourt. It says you're not going to find a higher quality podcast if you're interested in New World. These guys are true professionals who've been doing it for years, and it shows. This podcast will set the bar for quality from day one of New World. Sonny, thank you, bro.
That was very nice. I thank you, Sonny, very much. I definitely don't want that to take away from any of the amazing shows that are already out there, you guys. I'm sure we all have been absolutely absorbing every single show that's out there, and there are some fantastic podcasts out there, friends. So seek them out and listen to them all.
Yes, they're good. I've been listening to Eternum Radio here lately.
Yes.
New World to Go, New World Compendium, Eternum's Last Heroes. It goes on. They're all great shows. When you're done here today, if you haven't already, please be sure to check these shows out. At the end of the day, we are the hashtag New World fam together. All of us, whether you're casting, you're not casting, you're listening, you're playing. So one for all kind of thing. So great shows, great people.
Just to recap, if you want to call us, you can call us at 765-382-6961. Please keep your message around 1 minute or less, and we'll present that on our show if you bring us a good question. You can also email us at loreseekercast@gmail.com. That's loreseekers with an S, cast@gmail.com. You can find everything you want to know about this wonderful game called New World as we develop and learn it ourselves on loreseekercast.com.
Friends, if you do the social medias, so do we. You can follow us on Twitter. Follow Jibs at JibsIRL. You can follow Champ at Champ2504. You can follow myself at LoreSeekerCash, and the cash is with a K. Most importantly, follow the show. We're at Loreseekers Cast. Now, if you're interested in tabletop, we do a tabletop show DM'd by a good friend that we already mentioned, Mr. Sullis. And you can find that on Twitter at The Natural Ones DND. Now, very important part, something that we definitely wanted to say. Our good brother and partner in crime, Sullis, also has a New World podcast called To Eternum, where he presents an amazing RP storyline. When I say amazing, you're going to be blown away because it is outstanding. He also talks community building in New World, and as we said before, he is going to be our company guildmaster, which is going to be pretty cool to watch. More information to come on that. You can follow him at Eternumcast on Twitter, and don't forget to download his outstanding podcast. You can follow us on Twitch. We will be recording this show live on Twitch. We're going to be at twitch.tv/LoreSeekersCast. And you can follow our D&D show at twitch.tv/TheNaturalOnesDND.
Friends, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for taking time every day to check out the show. We hope you liked it. We'll see you next week. Stay safe. Be awesome. Open the door for someone. We love you.
Take care, everyone. Have a great week.